What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay. Today we have Crystal here. Let's really dive into her career path and what kind of advice she has for all of us. Thank you for joining us, guys. Today we have Crystal. Hey Crystal, how you doing today?
Good, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So let's just really jump into this. Why don't you just tell us a bit about your background and your schooling, things of that nature?
So I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I went to Edward R. Murrow High School. After high school, I went to Brooklyn College where I got a BA in sociology. And now I'm currently enrolled in grad school at Alfred University.
Well, that sounds all wonderful. What is your official title?
My official title is a client service rep. I work for an outreach program at York Presbyterian Hospital. There are several campuses, and I work at the Cornell University. Where I'm working, I'm stationed to answer a lot of calls. I don't have direct contact with patients. It's rare that I have a direct contact with a doctor either.
Okay.
My contact with them is paging them, calling the clinic or their offices, wherever they're having their practice. A lot of the practices are within the hospital, but I work for the lab, right? I'm a client rep for the lab. All my work is administrative.
Okay.
But there's a lot of issues that I deal with throughout the day. So I have systems in the computer that I have to have up. There are programs that we use. There are sources to change or correct demographics. Sometimes there's issues with specimens that come in. I don't know if anyone's ever gone to a doctor and you have a lavender or a SST. Those are certain types of specimens.
Okay.
There are certain blood panels. Sometimes there are issues that go wrong with them. Sometimes specimens are hemolyzed. Sometimes it gets really, it seems like it's technical and it seems like it's problematic. And it is. I have to troubleshoot that with getting the patient's information corrected. There are documents that need to be sent out. A doctor needs to sign off on things, and that's what I'm dealing with.
Got you. Okay, so what is kind of like the average salary? I mean, I know we're in New York City, so what is the kind of the average salary for a person that's with your title?
Jay, I'm going to tell you first and foremost, not enough. But I will say that the salary starting, it's entry level.
Okay.
Entry level, usually in healthcare, New York City, believe it or not, varies, but I would say starting is 35.
Okay. Like, how did you get to this career path? Did you have school background, anything of that? Like, did you need certification?
I did not need certification. Actually, for my job right now, all you need is a high school diploma.
Okay.
But for me, this isn't. It's not my career. It's more of a continuation of exercise of what I would like to do for the future.
Your bachelor's align with what you're doing now, or it's nothing to do with what you're doing?
In some ways it does. So I'm a sociology major. In my undergrad studies, I've studied a lot of urban spaces, planning, policy, and that provides a platform or an understanding of social services. I'm part of a social service, even though it's healthcare services. It's definitely social, and it's a service to people. And that, I know, is what I want to do with my life and myself. I want to be in some type of a service to people, generally speaking.
So, I mean, I will get into what you want to do in your future in a little bit later of the interview, but I kind of want to talk to you about if you were to train a person, what does that look like on the first day?
The first thing is, of course, is teaching them how to navigate a computer. And I'm basically showing them how to use the programs, our sources. So there are several sources that I use daily. We use Excel. There's eDocs. There's Outlook. There is Cerner Millennium. And one of our dominant ones is Outreach, which is how we look at things logistically. And I'm going to teach them how to navigate those systems. And those systems are to help add-on blood work, which is someone putting in an actual order. It's a request for add-on. So I'm showing them how to use the systems, have those papers printed out, how to organize any documents that come in, and I would personally show them what I'm dealing with. It's a good thing to have a good rapport with the accounts that you manage, because you're calling them about the issues. You're the one apologizing about any accidental issues that happen, because there's lots of accidents that happen in the lab. And minus the phone personnel, there is a lot of navigating on the computer that needs to be taught, and that comes along with just practicing.
So moving forward, let's kind of talk about your day-to-day. What does it look like?
As soon as I come in, I definitely sign into all my programs, and there are about 4 different things I have to sign into. Email is definitely the most important, because the email is a follow-up of basically anything I might have to troubleshoot from the day before. So those are like the first things I do. I always look at what I need to follow up with from the previous day, and then literally it varies every day, because there's times where as soon as I open up my line, I have a phone line, I'm making phone calls, but most of the calls are coming in. And it could be anything. I can have a 20-minute conversation about a gentleman that needs to collect his stool, and he's just talking to me about it.
Right.
Or my day can be a doctor that's pissed off and yelling and screaming, and although she or she knows it's not my fault of what's going on, she's letting out that frustration, and it's my job to make it better, or my job to, assist her in whatever it is that she's not so upset anymore.
What is the most enjoyable part of your job?
The most enjoyable part is that I feel part of a bigger entity than what I know that I sit at every day, even though it's a small cubicle and it's a desk. I'm speaking to some major life changers every day.
Right. What is the least enjoyable part of your job?
The least?
What would you tell our audience that when you go into this is what's going to suck?
I would say what's going to suck is that in the healthcare world, there's definitely a lot of room for disappointments. And sometimes I do have to be the bearer of bad news. You're dealing with seeing a lot of more sick people on paper than healthy. That's sometimes damn.
I know you talked about this being a stepping stone for your further career, but I want to kind of backtrack to your college days. If you were to kind of change your career from that point on, what would you change?
I would do more research, I feel. And what I mean by research is I think I would have gotten more involved in the background understanding of things. So let's say right now I'm just administrative personnel, but maybe I would have dealt with more like, because I'm a social major, so I did a lot of ethnography work. I did a lot of pulling studies and proposals using statistics and using qualitative work, which is more like interviewing or even just observation. And I don't know. I feel like if I would have went in that kind of route, I don't know if I'd be in New York. Maybe I would have traveled a little more.
So I mean, if you were to give advice to a person who's in the same shoes as you are, out of college, what would you tell them in terms of if they don't know what to do with this degree?
I would say before they make a fast decision, always look at your options. What I mean by options is thoroughly look into what it is that you can do with your career.
If you were to think about one instant that kind of shocked you, that people don't really think about, what would that instance be specifics to your job as of today?
Something that shocks me the most when it comes to my work is how there is always a short staff. There's never a sufficient amount of people working in my department, ever. I've been there 5 years and we never have enough people working there.
So I do want to talk about what do you think is your greatest accomplishment within your career now?
I would say during our annual evaluation, Brian said, it's unfortunate we don't have an actual position for you in management because I feel like you even do my job for me sometimes and you do it better than me.
That's great. What is your ultimate career goal from here on out?
Where I work now is not my career. It's more of just, I will say honestly, it's an income. I want to get more of a grasp on not only healthcare, but social services. Social services specifically within healthcare. And I kind of want to know more, exercising like managerial skills. I want to be part of what makes these experiences for patients, superb.
Gotcha. What advice would you give yourself, when you first started this job, that you think that would help somebody who's looking into this career or going into this career in the future?
I would say that this job, if you are passionate about patient care, just that alone will definitely have you thrive in this position. You can choose to stay, but there's opportunity from entering client services to definitely work your way up as well.
So I'm sure I missed a lot of questions. So if you were in my shoes to ask yourself a question, what would that be?
I was thinking about it, and I feel that a question you should ask during this challenging time regarding COVID, how has or does your work environment been affected? Will I find work again?
Right.
When will I go back to work? Should I even go to school? And all I have to say is do it, because during a pandemic, I just had my first orientation for grad school. And if anything now more than ever, because of this and what has happened, it makes me want to do and be more.
Got you. Well, thank you so much for your time, Crystal. I really appreciate it. That was all the questions I had for you today.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. If you are interested in a specific career path or know someone who'd like to be interviewed, please email us at askalutely@gmail.com. That's basically absolutely without the BS.